You've bought it, but the tenants come with it. When you're purchasing property, one thing that you must consider is whether the property has a tenant in it and whether the contract is subject to existing tenancies. Especially if you're a first home buyer and you want to claim any first home buyer benefits like stamp duty exemptions or deposit schemes, you must consider this aspect. When you're buying property in New South Wales, the contract can be subject to existing tenancies or with vacant possession. Subject to existing tenancies means that the property comes with a tenant and a tenancy agreement should be attached to the contract. This is something you really need to consider in the early stages of considering a property if you want to move into it or if you want to claim first home benefit schemes, because often there's a requirement for you to live in the property if you're a first home buyer and you want to be part of any of these schemes. If the property has a tenant and the tenant is able to stay there more than a year or indefinitely for a period of time in which you need to move into the property, that could cause an issue. Always, always, always ask the real estate agent who's living in the property. If the property is vacant, there's no furniture in there, it's empty. But if there's furniture in the property, you need to check this out. And then you need to confirm with your solicitor or conveyancer what the contract states. Because if it is subject to existing tenancies, you may need to negotiate this, you may need to manage this, and you may need to plan around it. If the contract remains subject to existing tenancies, it means that you will become the landlord and the tenant comes with the property. There's no requirement for the tenant to vacate just because you're buying and you want to move in. You've got to keep an eye on this aspect of the transaction. With first home buyer benefits, if you don't meet the requirements, for example, in New South Wales for the first home buyers assistance scheme, you need to live in the property for 1 year continuously in the year after settlement. And if you don't, the stamp duty could be clawed back. You may have to pay the stamp duty plus penalties plus default interest, which is a major drama. Always, always, always get some good advice and consider this. Have you been in an issue with this? You leave me a comment, let me know, and please like, follow, and subscribe on the channel you're watching on. I appreciate you. Thanks.